Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. In our first story, the man screwed himself twice, and our OP gladly helped him do it. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Guy makes a complaint because I wouldn't give him my beer. Me, my fiance, my older brother, his wife, and my coworker/friend all went to hang out the other night. Normally on days when neither of us is going to be working the next day, we like to drink. A lot. Well, this was my turn to be the designated driver, so I couldn't get plastered, which sucks, but regardless, it was fitting to be a long night. We went out bowling, and we normally order a special, which is 2 hours of playing, pizza, and a pitcher of beer. Everything was going fine for at least an hour, and we barely made it through half the pitcher, since we were having fun bowling and all. This one dude, who looked like he was old enough to be my dad, came up and asked if we could share some of our beer because they charge way too much for a large drink here. The price complaint is pretty fair, though. A large drink costs around $4.50. I was like, okay, because I felt like being nice and saw the cup in his hand, and the dude just takes the whole pitcher and goes over to his table. My brother and I immediately go over and take it back just as the dude threw his ball down the lane, and when he saw us, he starts running after us, shouting, "Give that back! You said I could have it!" We all shot him down when he came back to shout at us, and he bugged off to the desk. Then he came back with management, saying we just came and picked the pitcher off his table. All I had to do was show the receipt, and the guy was instantly accused of stealing it himself, but he then went on a tirade about the prices of the drinks and how it's unfair to be charging so much for sizes I can get at McDonald's for $1. Needless to say, that was the end of his night, and he was escorted out the door. Edit. To clarify, when he mentioned McDonald's, I think he was talking about their cup sizes. They don't serve beer to my knowledge at McDonald's here. And our second story. You want to change my pay from salary to production goals for 2 weeks? Fine by me. A bit of background. I work for a really small company straight out of undergrad with about 3 employees and the owner. My degree was in engineering, but I wound up doing procurement, fabrication, welding, machining, shop management, site management, safety, etc. on top of my engineering duties. Overworked and undervalued, I'll say it was a good experience for the rest of my career. Side note, to you prospective engineers, an engineering degree is among the few where grades in college do matter and significantly affect your prospects for your first job. I chose to not focus entirely on my studies and paid the price with this crappy job for 3 years. A big part of this job would be that I was out of town on a job site anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks a few times a year. Toward the end of my time with this company, the fact that I knew I was leaving soon, got a business graduate degree now, really empowered me to not back down on a lot of things. Around this time, my first child was on the way, and sure enough, a job was scheduled near the due date. The owner, while he had a lot of shortcomings, understood when I told him I would not be going. However, he refused to keep me on my regular salary while they were gone. There was plenty of work to be done, so it wouldn't have been a vacation. He instead insisted that he'd pay me on how many units of a certain part I produced while they were gone. Inventory was low, and we actually did need the parts. Fine by me if that's how you want to play it. For the 2 weeks they were gone, I only came in about 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, and busted out a ton of these parts. Ended up costing him a substantial bit more to pay me his way, and a lot of other things that I did for the company were put on hold during those weeks. Should have paid me my salary, dude. Edit. No, the owner/boss was not trying to give me a baby bonus. He was hoping to pay me less. I was there. Also, my statements about GPA speak in general terms of what students in similar situations will experience on average, not individual paths. I'll leave it at that. I stand by what I said. Thankfully, GPA drops off immediately after first job. It's a great way to redeem a lackluster college effort if you put in the work. And our next story. Karen tries to steal solar panel, and her son assaults me. I work in the solar industry, mainly residential, as a service technician. Whenever something goes wrong with a solar PV system, I'm the guy they send out to fix it. I've been doing this long enough to have the knowledge and skill to complete an entire installation by myself, with roof pitch and module count within reason, that is. Anyways, I went out with one of the crews for an installation as they were short a few guys. So myself and 2 of the other technicians I work with volunteered to help them out. Seemed like a pretty standard job, 40+ panels, not a steep roof. Okay, we should be in and out, time permitting. We're finished and back at the shop by 4 to 5 p.m. So we arrive at the house. It's what looked to be a pretty rich neighborhood. Homeowner greeted us and even offered to grab us all breakfast. It was a good day so far. So we set up an exclusion zone to prevent anyone from coming too close to the house, as equipment, tools, etc. will fall off the roof. I'm on the ground working on building the electrical portion of the system. I've got my music playing, all's good. I've got myself in a good rhythm. I then noticed a child, could have been no older than 7, dart past the red tape we'd put up and head toward a ladder to the roof to try to start playing on it. Like a human being with common sense, I ran over and told the kid he couldn't play on this and that the red tape was up so he couldn't get hurt. And the moment you've all been waiting for, Karen appears. Man, she had it all. The haircut, the sunglasses, and she had the worst spray tan I've personally seen. It's summer, people. Just go get some sun. Damn. Karen, don't talk to my son like that. He just wants to play with your tools. Ma'am, I can't allow him to play with our tools. I can't have him or yourself pass that red tape. We put it up for your safety. Oh, he'll be fine. Just tell your workers not to drop anything. I lost a couple of brain cells from that response. I can tell them not to drop anything all day, but that doesn't exclude the fact accidents happen and we can't risk anyone who's a non-worker to be hurt. Now, please leave. This is an active work site. I can do as I please, and so can my son. We're friends with these people, and they let my son play in their yard. You should take a better direction at talking to potential customers, you know. Ma'am, until I have site plans for an installation on your house, how I speak to you is not a concern I have. If I sound cross, I apologize. But I've now told you twice that I cannot have you pass that red tape, so I'm asking once again, please take your son and leave before either of you get hurt. This is an active work site. She grabbed her child's arms and stormed off, while also tearing off a section of the exclusion zone tape and storming over to her house 2 doors down. I stood by our trailer to take a breather and began chain smoking. I try not to get stressed out so much, being my job is already stressful as it is, but I have zero patience for people with no common sense, especially if they're a parent. A little while later, panels are prepped, roof is based out. For anyone who knows about solar installations, we use a rackless system instead of actual rails. We're now just finishing up the electrical before placing the panels into position. I'm running up between the basement and the outside area. I get back to the outside, punching in some wires, when I hear one of my guys yelling from the roof. Hey kid, what are you doing? That immediately caught my attention, as I thought the little kid had run past the exclusion zone tape once again, but my eyes caught a guy running down the road with a solar panel in tow. He thankfully wasn't very fast, he was holding the panel. I darted over to this kid with one of our solar panels and attempted to rip it from his hands, while simultaneously trying not to let it hit the ground. I was able to get my hands on it, but this kid actually put up a fight and tossed the solar panel. That put me in an awkward position, and he landed a full-on punch to my chest. Not gonna lie, it did knock the wind out of me a little, but I went into full self-defense mode. The kids wanted to take another shot at me since I didn't completely go down. I immediately put him on the ground without throwing any punches. I didn't know how old this kid was, and I didn't want to get in trouble for hitting a minor, but I wasn't about to let this kid continue to hit me. I'm thankful I have a little background in amateur MMA and a police officer dad and older brother who taught me stuff over the years. So I had the kid down on the ground, pinned, and out comes Karen, running, screaming like a banshee, the typical, I'm calling the cops, and you just assaulted my son. I really asked myself if this was happening. Your son was stealing a solar panel and punched me in the chest. I had to defend myself. I told him to grab the solar panel. My neighbor said I could take one and try it out and see how I like it. At this point, my guys are at my aid, and I tell them to call the cops and keep Karen away from me. As we wait for the cops to show up, this orange-skinned lunatic is ranting how she's gonna sue all of us and blah blah blah. Cops arrive about 10 minutes later. I remove myself from the kid and the cops split us all up to take our statements and such. Karen went with her story about how her neighbor said she could borrow a solar panel and try it out. Now, even if he did say that, which he didn't, you can't just let someone take a solar panel because they still belong to the company. Most people who buy solar finance the panels and pay them off over the course of the next couple of years. Works a lot like financing a car. I get to the point where the cops ask if I want to press charges for the assault. The guy whose house we were installing had a security camera system and caught the incident all on tape, so I gladly say yes. No idea when the court proceedings are going to be taking place. I honestly just want this over and done with. Edit. Just to clear up some questions in the comments, found out the kid who attacked me was 18, legally an adult, so charges are being filed against him. The homeowner was present during most of the ordeal and told us he's never talked to that woman in his life, and I have no idea what Karen's intentions were with the solar panel. If she planned to just slap it on her house, she's as stupid as she is entitled. Thank you for being some of these sensible few that press charges. Too many let these people get away with their actions, which just goes in turn to feed their delusional beliefs they're untouchable. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.